And today we have a very awesome episode of Keeping It Real with Real People. I brought my good friend Alyssa to come in and help kind of be our boundary guide today, because the subject is blinded by doubt, guided by truth, the gift of doubt. And that is a very hard subject, but welcome to the Capital Life, Alyssa. My apologies for the glitchy introduction where apparently one button works and then the next one doesn't.
Well, while you're unmuting yourself, I want to say I'm glad to be here. This is life. This is the flow. This is what we do. We just go with it. So
yeah, I don't know why all the buttons are glitching. Did you see all of that?
I did.
That's
You
like
did
crazy today. I mean, like, well, and this is a great way to start it, because it's like, oh my gosh, what the hell is going on? There's so many glitches happening in the world. It gets people inside their psyche to the point where they're just flooded by doubt. And doubt is literally coming on page like this week. Like doubt is literally, I think we're supposed to hit doubt focus on Sunday. On a gate sequence for the collective people.
Wow. Okay. We're doing it.
We're doing it. Like it's interesting. So one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on the show is because I really thought, like, if we're talking about momentum, we're talking about vision, we're talking about vision through the storm. There's so much cloudiness. There's so much crazy. Like it starts making wondering about our friendships, our like the doubt that comes into our mind, being able to have like patience, to have grace is really struggled. And it's like, and some people are dealing with massive crisis. And so it really comes into play of where we have to set those boundaries. And I was like, oh my gosh, who's the perfect episode for this? Oh, it's you.
Thanks. I'm so glad to be here. I'm so glad to be here. And yeah, let's do this. Whatever comes.
Yeah, whatever comes. Now, this episode of The Capital Life is brought to you by Malloy Chiropractic Center. When it comes to chiropractic care, you deserve more than just quick fixes. You deserve compassionate, comprehensive care that addresses the root of the problem. Malloy Chiropractic Center is there for you and your family every step of the way. With years of experience and advanced training, our team is dedicated to treating you, not just your symptoms, whether you're recovering from an injury, managing a condition, or seeking to prevent future issues. We take the time to understand your unique needs and craft a personalized path to wellness. Malloy Chiropractic Center believes in empowering your recovery and enhancing your quality of life without judgment and with care you can trust. Schedule your visit today and experience healthcare that truly cares for your whole you. Malloy Chiropractic Center, healing beyond the symptoms. You're probably listening to this while you're driving, so let me ask you, how's your back feeling right now? Yeah. Exactly. If your body's been trying to get your attention, just go check out the focus programs at capitalhealth.com. These are built around real things like low back pain, tight shoulders, stiffness, mobility, getting your body moving the way it's supposed to again. We've got programs for during pregnancy called Rock the Baby, after pregnancy called MilFit, and for the boys, yeah, we've got you, Beefcake. Plus, programs for those flabtastic areas that like to show up uninvited and the legs for day goals. There are over 20 programs in there. Use the code TheCapitalLife at checkout and take $15 off each and every one that you grab. So if your body's been dropping hints or straight up complaining, you know where to go. CapitalHealth.com. Achieve your ideal health where health meets alignment. Please like, share, and rate us on whatever platform you're listening. It's how we start to really spread the message of good in the world that needs it so much right now. If you find this helpful or insightful, don't forget to connect with us on Facebook and YouTube at Capital Health. That's KAPITOL Health. Also, visit us at capitalhealth.com and subscribe to our newsletter and get wicked awesome updates. Now, okay, just to give people a little bit of understanding with some of your background, like I know that you blend like your intuition with laughter and straight conversation because you really try to enhance that your clients get like they drop the guilt, they rebuild their spark, and they become unapologetically themselves. Isn't it like the nicest thing to think about is like unapologetically themselves? Because a lot of people are constantly like, oh, I'm so sorry. You know, in the grocery store, if you accidentally bumped into it. And I always say, you don't have to apologize for existing. Like,
oh, that's exactly right. It's about the permission. And the more we can be ourselves and give our permission to be ourselves, the better our life is, the better everything flows, the more happy our family is, the more happy we are in our relationships. So it really is about that permission. And I love that this is about the doubt, because even with the glitches right away, you know, it's like we have computer glitches and our first reaction is, oh my gosh, what am I doing wrong? What have I done? You know, you just start to doubt yourself immediately. And I think maybe it's more women than men. You know, I don't know. I don't have the science, but I love the idea of just taking a breath, tuning back in and saying, okay, is this about me or is this something going on? And how can I recenter and then start to like address and really solve things?
right. Well, so I want you to take us through a little bit, like, you know, what I always like to do is kind of really pay attention to the person before, like how your story got you into where you're focusing. Because if you're doing things where you're trying to help people without panic, without guilt, without any of those dynamics, that clearly is a it's kind of a tell that you yourself must have, you know, like we're better at our careers when we've had our own experiences through the things, right? Like, why would you want to listen to somebody that hasn't experienced similar trauma to which you've had, because they can't hit that same direction and angle? And you have, I mean, you've overcome something that a lot, like, and I don't want to say overcome, but like you've dealt with something massive in dealing with a small percentage of the population go to doctors to figure out where things are stemming from, and they don't always get the answers to which they don't really get the answers, and then they're kind of stuck in a suffering pit, and then they get projected on like, oh, it's your psychosis, or oh, it's this, and then like they keep like grasping at straws to point at different fingers. And I feel like you have a lot of understanding of what that's like with the fatigue and pain, et cetera. Can you invite our audience into understanding a little bit about the Alyssa behind the scenes?
Absolutely. I love that you called it a tell. I'm going to use that now because that's so perfect. So, you know, without getting too deep in the weeds.
Oh, we get in the deep in the weeds here, so you can get as deep as you want.
An hour later, we're like still trying to climb ourselves out. So
that's perfectly fine. And we clearly had to fix editing at the beginning of this because it went botched and I have no control over it, even though like the first button worked and then the second one completely glitched. And I'm like, that's what it is. Fuck. And like, there we go.
All right. So we'll just start. So like a lot of us, I had trauma, you know, when I was young. I mean, some very, very traumatic things were going on around me. And my fight or flight kicked in, and I know now it never really kicked back out. So, you know, we were farmers. We live in the Midwest in the United States, and my family just lost everything, like everything. So, home, land, animals, pets. We moved, and so while I didn't really know what was going on at that young age, I did know that I wasn't safe, and so then I started doing the things that we do to try and keep ourselves safe, you know, so pleasing, not being difficult, you know, apologizing to others if they bump into you, you know, like in the grocery store, I always think of that. Someone bumps into me and I go to apologize. It's like, okay, let's just dial this back. So, you know, had some other challenges through my childhood. And then I got to this place where I was happy. I mean, I went to college, I got married, I had kids, I had this amazing life. And these symptoms that started when I was 6 and 8 and 10 and 12 and 14 and just kept following me. And then I kept adding more pain, disease, illness, surgeries, all these things just kept plaguing and plaguing and plaguing. And I had kids, and then that, you know, took a toll on me.
Added on top of it.
Physically. Yeah. And I had surgeries when they were really little. And so just throughout this, I'm like, I don't understand. my life is amazing from the outside. And I'm so blessed with the people in my life, with the freedoms I have. I mean, I just feel so grateful, and more pain, more fatigue, more illness, I just felt like my life just kept getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And
what were some of the illnesses and surgeries that you had to deal with, just so that we can give like a visual to some people that might be experiencing or have experienced similar things, so that we can really get into that nitty gritty of the raw of, because when you're in healing aspect, it's not pretty. It's not, I mean, it's not pretty. It gets really messy. I mean, you have days in beds, you have days of just hours in pain, and like you can't even focus, and sometimes you can't even think or even function. And the fact that like some people even expect you to still hold a job when you're going through that, you're like, oh, that's funny. That's really cute. No, like,
so thank you for bringing me back to that, because, you know, part of what I realize is I've spent decades sort of hiding this and keeping it to myself, because nobody wants to hear it. So when people do say, all right, tell me about it, I'm totally willing. I'm not great at it yet. So I had an ulcer when I was 8 because of the stress. And so, you know, there's the gut health. And then I had, you know, headaches. I've had headaches and like low blood sugar for 35 years. And I had a lot of anxiety, and then a lot of stress, you know, and of course you're going to college and you're doing all those things and you're trying to figure out how to be an adult. So there's a lot of just real world stuff, real world stresses, but I kept thinking, I just should be happy. I should be happy. Of course, then I'm doubting myself. First thing I did was, you doubt yourself. What's wrong with me? Why am I not able to figure that out? You know, what am I doing wrong? And so I had, you know, I had girls. I have twin girls, and then I had a C-section with them, so it was a surgery to recover from. I had 2 detached retinas when they were 6 months old. I had surgery 6 and 8 months, and I've had, you know, I had a tonsillectomy when I was 19, which was the most painful surgery I've ever had. I've had 5. So,
well, yeah, because it usually happens in their, you know, when you're itty bitty, like when you're like not 8, 9 years old is usually when that happens, if not worst case 12. But to do that surgery in your adult years sucks. But,
so, you know, then you're talking about all that throat chakra stuff, right? You're holding it in, and I'm not using my voice, and it's all intertwined. So, you know, I'm staying home and I'm raising my girls, and I'm just tired. Right. And I remember, this is so funny, and they were twins. So it was, you know, it was challenging, but I remember sitting on the couch with them reading like a board book. And I remember I was able to fall asleep between pages of the board book. Like I could, you know, you're turning the page and I would sleep for a few seconds and then I would read the next page. And it just,
girl, those things are only like 30 seconds long. Like, you know how bad it is if you're falling asleep in between, like,
I know,
1, 2, buckle my shoe. Like,
I know. And I was so grateful to be home and have the life that I had. And it was painful. It was just, I don't want to say miserable, because we had so much fun, and I felt like I was missing out, right? Because of the fatigue and because of the tired. And then there's the guilt. I didn't do the laundry. I didn't, you know, had trouble making food. You know, you could just barely feed them and yourself. So then there's all that guilt because I'm home all day. What am I doing, and what's wrong with me? And so again, that self-doubt.
Well, I think some of the problem with that is that we're spending so much time in our own head and in our own suffering that we're missing out. So even though we're present, we're not fully present.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I think that's where the struggle is because it's like, how do I dig myself out of this hole? Because everything I do seems to dig me deeper into the hole. You know, and it's like, and a lot of times it's like, you know, you get the fibromyalgias of the world and you get like the undiagnosed, you know, the people that go through long discovery paths of like, if they had lupus or MS or whatever, and they're dealing with some major shit. And then, and I hate the diagnosis of the fibromyalgias because it really was just like, oh, here's medical saying we have a lot of people with these same similar symptoms, but we don't really know what to do with them. So we're just going to put them in this category. And so then they just put you over here and they're like, oh, and then we stamped you fibromyalgia. So it's a title so that you can call it something. But like, by the way, sorry. Like, and then they don't readily go into as much of the diet and the nutrition, or, you know, like it's like they might even promote a medication, but they're like, there's not really medications to do for it. But I mean, like there's constant flares and waves that come with these types of things. And even if it's not something like when someone says, oh, I had a hysterectomy, everybody knows what that is. Like it's a big deal, right? Like, I mean, like, oh, I had bypass surgery. Oh yeah, that's a big deal. But when you're like dealing with constant pain and constant headaches and constant migraines, and every single day is different, it really hinders your engagement. And especially when you're excited about the world you're creating, and then you have no energy or focus or ability, like the capacity is not there.
Capacity is the word. Yeah. It takes the mental and emotional energy it takes to survive a day in constant pain. It just reduces your capacity to bare minimum, right? Just survival. Yeah. So, and then there's all the grief that goes with that, right? The grief of, the things you miss and the things you can't do, and your world's getting smaller and you want to just hide under the covers.
This isn't the mom I wanted to be, right? Like,
yeah. So it comes with a lot of emotions. And so what do we do with those emotions? We stuff them down because, no one wants to hear that you're tired again, or you're sad, or you're missing out, because you're literally there. So they're like, how are you missing out? So we just keep it all to ourselves. And of course that exacerbates everything.
Yeah, that's insane. Have you ever found something that just feels like you? Not because it's trendy, but because it actually matches how you think, how you move, or how you're trying to show up in your life? That's the energy behind the Capital Health shop. From oils that support what your body's going through, to apparel that actually says what you're thinking, like be stronger than your excuses, or I wonder if tacos think of me too. It's not just stuff, it's an extension of the work. If you want to explore what we've been cooking up for you, head over to capitalhealth.com and check out the Capital Health shop. So how long did it take you? Because as I'm listening to you, and I'm not sure, how Abby's like buzz connections work is like, I hear you going through just listing, oh, I had an ulcer when I was 8, I was anxious, like I had these headaches. And all I kept thinking was like, oh, you were so sensitive, like so sensitive to your environment.
Yes.
And how long did it take you to figure out that some of the physical experiences to which you were having was actually deeply connected to your energetic abilities, your intuition, and your radar, so to speak, on an energetic field?
I love that question. So I'm glad you asked it. It took a while, right? So in my 20s, I knew that this was not how it was meant to be. Right. I knew that this was not.
You're only in your 20s, for Christ's sake.
Right.
That's not right.
So you're just doing your thing, and you're, taking care of people, and you're doing your best in my 30s. And so I really started searching. Right. And, this was 25 years ago. So it was the physical. So I was searching for the physical, right? The physical solutions, the physical, so you start to get into nutrition and movement and, all those physical things. And I just kept trying and trying, all while living your life and trying and trying and trying. And it was about, and I'm like, this is not, I just knew, like, the self-doubt was actually helpful because it told me this was not the key. Yes, it was part of it. Oh my gosh, when we're eating healthy and having some sort of movement and getting good sleep, that helps. And I knew there was another component. And about 10 or 12 years ago, I started to discover the energy piece. And so that's when I thought,
how old were you then?
How old am I now? I was late 30s, I'm going to say.
Okay.
Yeah, mid to late 30s. So it just clicked, right? It's like when you hear something for the first time in this lifetime and you're like, oh, yes, I knew that. I had just forgotten it. So that started this whole energy piece and really understanding what was going on. And then I started to realize, oh my gosh, I'm an empath. I'm highly sensitive. A lot of the stuff isn't mine. And then I slowly have started to gather those tools and resources that help me understand what's mine and what isn't, how to clear what's other people's, how to put up these, you put your safety bubble up, and however you want to call it. And just from that place, I've stopped taking more in. Right. So like with clutter of any kind, the first thing you have to do is stop taking more in.
Yeah. Awareness is key. Awareness is key. Just identifying where it's coming from or what's happening do you remember what it was specifically that like kind of like,
yeah.
Do you remember what was said?
Well, it's funny. I somehow, universe, got an email about the Tapping Solution World Summit. I think it was, maybe 12 years ago. 10 or 11 years ago. And I was like, oh, what is this? I think I got it through Mike Dooley. I was getting Mike Dooley's Notes from the Universe. And I was like, okay, my kids were in school and I, was home most days. And so I'm like, all right, I'm just going to listen to this. And it was immediate. I remember one of the first few interviews that year was about the genocide in Rwanda and refugees. Wow. And I remember seeing the title. I'm like, okay, this one doesn't relate to me. I don't need to watch this. Ended up watching it or, listening, bawling, and everything resonated, right? Because we're all human. We're all experiencing these things, but that is what really, so I tapped through that whole summit, twice a day, every day for 10 days and did all the extra. And that was what really woke me up to the broader world, that mind body connection and the energy and the energetic piece. And again, they're starting to have more and more science about tapping. So it is, becoming more mainstream, but it's also about the energies and what's going on.
Well, what I find fascinating is that so much of us as a human, like the way that we're wired, the way that we're connected, there are massive ways. I'm not saying that we can heal ourselves 100% completely, but we have these receptors and these our neurons are like neural pathways, the way that like even like our nerve endings connect to certain aspects of our body, like all like our prime meridians, everything, right? Everything is connected to each other. Like we're massively complex scientifically, like to the point where, like if we were to understand it, our brains would massively explode because we can only understand it in like compartments, right? It's like, and I, it's so funny because like one of my favorite books is to reference to is Anatomy Trains, because it connects. They actually like took cadavers and then they separated all the systems. So like you would have the entire nervous system connected from head to toe, and they take the fascia and they like show you exactly what it looks like if they were to sadly scalp us, like I don't like to go into that category, but some weirdo had to decide to just cut everybody open to be able to figure out things. Yeah. Like, thank you for your psychoness, but please don't harm people. but it's like we had, like, in order to even understand the rudimentary complexities of it, because I mean, like if you've watched even when the cells meet and they start forming like a child from the beginning, right? And it doesn't matter if you believe they're a child after birth or whatever. As soon as that heart, you can feel a soul essence. Like there's no question. There's a soul energy. I mean, my firstborn literally could pick up on people that were around me and would, like, my arms would involuntarily put my hands in front of my belly and protect myself in particular instances or people that like did not need to be a thing. Now it was like regular public. So it wasn't like I was engaged in, miscellaneous things. It was like, oh, I'm at a restaurant. I walk past it. Oh, don't go near that person. Like it was a really interesting thing, but it gave me a taste of a different energetic ability that I didn't possess. Because I'm not on the telepathic sequence and I'm not in the reading people's minds type of thing. I'm in the vibrations. I'm in vibrations. I'm in emotions. I'm in herbs. I'm in like sense, like I'm in channeling on my left side. Like there's different ways. Like I used to astral project as a child. I wish I still kind of do, but it's not controllable. Like, so,
Yep,
like,
yep, yep.
so there's all these different aspects, but each one of us have this different skill set to which, like that we have, but we don't even realize that we have them. And sometimes it's as simple as starting with something like the tapping, like, and just getting into that frequency level. And I mean, did you have glimpses of things outside of the tapping before when you were a childhood that you possibly connected later that you might have ignored or not understood yet?
Wow. I think just the extreme sensitivity, looking back,
Okay.
Feeling things really deeply, feeling fear really deeply,
Like becoming your own and consumed by it. Yeah.
Yes. So I've always been really sensitive into everything, smells and sunshine and tastes and just noises. And so I've always been really, really sensitive in this human body. And
almost to the point where, like, when you are like embodying the awesomeness of the happiness and joy around you, people think you're on crack or that you drank too much, even though you hadn't had anything to drink, because you're just like, this is fantastic, guys. Can you feel it? Like,
part of what came with that is wanting to not be in the body and feel the pain. So for me, it was, I think, I was I wasn't present for a lot of it, and I didn't realize. And so then as soon as you come back in, it's like, oh my gosh, this is so heavy and it hurts and I don't want to do this. So it's been learning how to balance that, be here in it, feel the things, the emotions, process it all, and then still be able to maintain like that centered, balanced state.
How's your pain levels now that you've been engaging in caretaking for yourself the way that you probably always needed to?
That is a good question. I still have.
I surprised myself actually on that one. I was like, that's where I was like, oh, that was a good one.
I love that. Celebrate yourself for that question.
Did you know that we at Capital Health have been working on an app that's never been created before? And with all the excitement around it, we've decided to give you an opportunity to become a Capital Health founder. Capital Health founders get exclusive perks, including 3 to 6 months of full access of the app, a Capital Health t-shirt, and future founder-only benefits. The app itself is designed to meet you where you are, assessing your needs and creating customized workouts and personalized nutrition tailored specifically to you. In short, it's like having a trainer, nutritionist, and energy coach in your pocket without the massive expense of hiring each one individually. Founder opportunities are limited and only are available before the launch date. So head on over to capitalhealth.com to learn more on how to become a Capital Health founder and achieve your ideal health.
So I would love to sit here and say, oh my gosh, everything is fantastic and it's rainbows and unicorns and I'm totally healed and I'm ready for whatever's next.
We're so human.
That is a lot of that is true. My mental and my emotional and my spiritual world just opens up and has just got momentum and it's wonderful and it's amazing. And the physical is still coming along slowly. So other things have popped up, and it's like, all right, now I'm like, okay, we do the deep work. What is going on here? What are the layers? What's really happened? What happened when this pain started? So I have had, chronic back pain for 22 years that I feel like I'm starting to really flip the switch on that. So that's exciting. But it's just like, I'm not giving up. I'm going to keep searching and I'm going to do it from a place that's tuning in to me. Right. And then deciding from that centered place, because I think I spent a lot of the time, okay, who can tell me, who can fix me, who can tell me what I need to do, who's just
it's the human desperation of trying to fix the problem, which is that masculine energy taking over, mixed with the ego influence from society of like, we have to be a certain way. And it's some of that unraveling the program and doing those different things. Now, like, when it comes to the family, So, like your husband, kids, those types of things. How did they handle some of your awakening since it happened in more of the later years rather than the earlier years?
Mhm.
Like, did you get pegged with the, oh, mom, she's just sensitive? Like, did you have some
No.
of those family dynamics that I'm assuming you probably experienced with your immediate, like your
Yeah,
original,
like,
yeah,
childhood growing up.
childhood family. Yeah. Like you can't say it's such a
I
weird thing.
I know.
It's like you have your immediate family from when you were a child, but then you have your
Yes.
immediate family when you're a grown ass adult. Then there's
Yeah.
not really a language to differentiate between the two immediates, but then you're like, oh, they're extended now. Wait,
Oh, I
okay.
know. It's
Ah!
complicated, right? That just sums up being human. That is a good one. I have the most supportive and amazing family. And so, part of it is I have two girls, and that I don't, we communicate everything. There was a lot of talking in our house over the last 20 years, but we talk about it. We talk about it all. And, part of it is I just kept a lot of stuff to myself, and that's, it contributes to my pain, but like no one wants to hear it. Just shove it down and just, get on with it and take care of others. So
Right.
there has been an interesting dichotomy, but they are so supportive and we talk about it. I'll be like, if we have emotional outbursts or, I'll just say, okay, I need to vent or, okay, I'm sorry. I, blew up. Or I don't know how to do this. I've never parented a, 10-year-old, 12-year-old, 15-year-old, 20-year-old.
Right.
So it's just, we talked about everything. And so we could understand each other and really see each other as human
Hmm.
and imperfect and doing the best we can with what we have. And I have really compassionate, caring family. So I feel supported as I slowly get better at sharing, my own needs. And they are, then we do that for them. It's like we're there for each other.
Yeah, it's funny because like my husband has never told me no on things, which I don't know is good or not. Like, but but it's funny, but it like provided that safe
Mhm.
place to
Yeah.
exist as I was
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
even allow myself to go through the discovery and portions where
Mhm.
like a lot of it's like every single decade we're going through like a new crazy shift of self-discovery and life phasing, even sometimes halfway in between that decade,
Yes.
like so much evolution of self that
Mhm.
happens, but I feel like there's more growth not just in recent years because of
Mhm.
all the different planetary alignments, the
Mhm.
different portals coming through, the
Mhm.
healing aspects, going from third to fifth dimension, all the different
Mhm.
things that have been happening. But what
Mhm.
I find the most interesting is that, and I don't know if it has to do with our world today or if it has to do once you get to a certain place, it's almost like it speeds up the healing process. Like to the point where, I mean, like my husband's getting better. Like if my husband gets better when he's in a tiff, it still takes him a day or two to get out of it. But
Yeah.
like when it comes to like me, it's like all of a sudden something happens. Then I like go internal. I go, oh, let me feel into this. Oh, that came from this. Wow, that came from here. Oh, that's from this
Mhm.
childhood issue. And then it's like I quickly healed it. And then the next minute I'm skipping back in the room 10, 15 minutes later. I'm like, okay, I'm I'm
Yes.
good. And then he's sitting there
Yes.
like, I'm still processing.
Oh, absolutely. I do. My husband says, you recover a lot quicker than you used to, so there's still ups and downs.
Yeah.
There is life, there is shit happens, and we are more resilient. We don't go
Yes.
as low on the lows. We bounce back quicker. We recognize it sooner, right? So it used to be like it could be hours or days before you'd be like, oh, that's not even mine. It's my mother's or whatever. And so it's the resilient. It is. You're right. We're healing quicker. We're bouncing back quicker. We're more resilient, and that is so light. And it's like that's its own miracle when you
Yeah.
can get to that point where you're starting to recognize, oh, I'm moving through this faster and easier.
What do you think about because one of the things I kind of have talked about is like how, like people that have been a little bit more on the awakened scale. And when
Mhm.
I say awakened, it doesn't matter where you are on it. It's
Mhm.
just,
Mhm.
the sensitivity, but
Mhm.
when I say awaken is like you're aware of where it's coming from and you've been working on it for a while. And especially some people have taken that into their own healing practices. You and I have done that, etc. But like what I find interesting is it's almost like the first tier started to travel, then the second tier ended up going, and then the third tier, like it's almost like that first and second tier have gone through like the washer of the freaking, like you think of like the 1800s and the washboard mixer, and it's like, like where clothes were washed on cheese graters, right? Remember those days? And so like, not that we were there, but like, remember I saw that in a museum, like, like that type of thing. We're that age. We're that age to see it in a museum and it doesn't exist anymore, or it's probably on a Cracker Barrel wall. So, but like, anyway, like, but like, here's that washboard, like that we've gone through. Oh. And then as we, like, because we went through that washboard, we healed ourselves like a ton. It's like we've gotten a good 20, it feels like 20 layers healed. And then because of that, it created the ripple effect to where it then affects those closest to us. Like, so sadly, husband, I love you, but like, he got healed in default, sorry.
Yes. Like, yes, I love that.
My bad. Like, didn't mean to cause that, but like, oops, like I want you with me. So like, so it ended up being like where he had that. And now I'm starting to see like circles around him that I didn't think were possible to grow and expand. It's like, and now I'm starting to see the universe is coming after the next degree of people, like the next 2 degrees of people. So it's like we're going into that 4th, 5th, 6th wave of healing. And so like, it's kind of nice for us because we went through that washboard so much. So now we can see it and we're like, oh, okay. Yeah. I remember that lesson. That sucked. Like you kind of like, okay. Yeah. Oh, and then like, sometimes I'm like, oh, universe is coming after you. You better watch out. Like there's a blockade coming and you don't even know it. And the sad thing is I'm not trying to be like too excited for people's healing process, but at the same time I also am like extremely excited because I find so much beauty comes from it, even though it can be so gross and messy. Like have you found that your family has also had like the same effect, like as you elevated and plateaued, like they hit a whole new another level like you didn't even think possible?
Absolutely. First of all, I love the cheese grater because that's what it feels like some days. It's like it's messy and it's painful and I hate this and it sucks and I don't want to do it. Okay. Once we get past that, they feel those feelings. We get past that. Yes. I remember, I was really diving in and doing the tapping and doing other mind body tools and working with this practitioner. And it was the heavy, messy, yucky, really yucky parts. And I started to come out of that and I did start to see shifts in my family and, things just working out and it was lighter and it was more joyful. And while I was so glad, part of me wanted to stand up and say, you're welcome for all your lives starting to work out more.
I never thought about that.
I was like, you're welcome. I'm working my butt off here and you're welcome. And then of course I felt those feelings. And then we got to the point where of course our energy goes out, at least 10 feet beyond us. And if we are raising the level of, awareness and frequency in the home, and then everybody comes back home into it, it's just absolutely natural to happen. And it is fun to watch. And every once in a while I want credit, but it's fine. I'll get over it. I'll feel my feelings. But I absolutely see that. Now you're talking about that next ring is interesting. I'm going to have to start paying attention. My girls are off of college now. And so I don't, see them on a daily basis. So I wonder, when we shine our light, it cannot help but affect the people around
everybody.
So it absolutely is going to. It just is, right?
You know something? If you're listening to these conversations and thinking, yeah, I want more spaces like this in my life, that's exactly why we built the Capital community. It's where we keep the conversations going, exploring the emotional and energetic pulse of life, sharing tools for growth, bringing in new perspectives, and opening up the wisdom window during Soul Talks with Abby. If that sounds like your kind of space, you can learn more about it at capitalhealth.com. It's the place where growth keeps unfolding. It just $26 a month, come join the Capital community, where wisdom grounds you and awareness helps you rise. I feel like, and I'm not, sorry not to try to cut you off, but I feel like that society right now is facing some really big challenges on trying to stay in a place of not controlling situations, not projecting opinions onto people, and like not judging them for where they're at in their healing process. Yep. And like it's like either there's way too much compassion and no accountability, or there's too much judgment and expectation, and it's like you're projecting your own expectations onto other people, and that's not right or fair, right? Yes. So like I've noticed there's this huge division between the two, and it's like all of the answers in the middle would fix both of those problems, but nobody's fucking taking the time to listen to the answers in the middle. Yeah. But like, and the thing is like when you were talking about like you're having to pay attention of like whose type of next, it's like I kind of see it as the lower, denser vibration, right? Like you meet those people that are so like high off of life, they like just seem like a bullet you can't catch because they're so happy. And what I find interesting is that that's the type of person you pay attention to because they're living at a very high frequency. If that person in that high frequency like gives some kind of irritation to you or some kind of enviness or jealousy comes up, that's the time. That's like clearly they were present in that moment to wake something up around you to do some healing, right? Like I struggle with that sometimes just because of my traumatic past, where it's like, you know, my grandfather had married into one of the most amazing families, like the happiest family. But I was in a place in my life where I didn't understand happiness. Like you never knew when you were going to get beat, scolded, degraded, like you were walking on eggshells constantly. So it didn't matter. And it was coming from your paternal parental source to where you're like, okay, did you really think about having children? Because you suck at it. Like you're like, it's like, okay, sperm donor, calm down. Thanks for the life. Gotta go. Like that kind of thing. But it's one of those things where it's like this family was one of the most happiest, greatest, higher vibration, but I did not understand it. And the weirdest part was even in my life, I kept attracting these amazing spirits constantly, amazing, glorious people, kind-hearted, fully embodied, knowing like they're human, they're imperfections, but they all made it work and they just didn't judge and they like lived true to themselves in their light. But I was in a place in my youth where I couldn't breathe. I didn't understand. Things would be like, there was always another shoe to drop. I was so rooted in my trauma, right? And so I wasn't able to make some of those connections or understand some of those connections until like much later on. And the thing is it's like, we're in this world where we forget that the people that are kind of irritating us are our mere reflections of our lessons that we're needing to address. It's not to put you in doubt. It's to put you in truth. Yes. It's about getting you to here, this is the gift of doubt. Like you got in your head, you started judging, you started getting into your ego, you started having doubts upon yourself. Hey, guess what, fucker? Time to wake up and pay attention to the truth and like start doing those healing processes. But I'm noticing that that's happening in like so many different avenues within our society. And I really think that if we could get to a place of stillness, and you always preach on staying in the moment. And it's like, if you can stay in the place of stillness and stay in that moment to really assess what's happening. And it's like, why are people getting so fired up and angry? Why are they projecting their belief systems to force someone else to think the same way they do? Is it because they internally think that that's right and wrong?
I mean, I think it's about fear. I think it all comes down to fear. You know, I love your point about the mirror because, yes, as you do this work and you do start to realize everything that happens to you is a mirror reflection, And sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, can't an asshole on a bus just be an asshole on a bus?
No.
But it's not. It's like, dang it. It says, well, all right, what's in me that, needs to be, is just being asked. It's being asked to be seen or healed or just honored, right? Give it like a moment of presence. Be like, okay, I see you. You're scrunchy.
Well, that's the people pleaser in you. That's the people pleaser in you that has to get used to the point of like that him being an asshole had nothing to do with you. It had to do with him. And like, and if it bothered you, you're like, crap, that's the people pleaser in me being like, can you still be my friend, asshole? Like,
I love that. I love that. Yep. People pleasers on that list of saboteurs. And you were talking about, the other thing you were talking about is, the fear. I think it all comes down to fear. And when I remember this, I do have compassion for people. I mean, I love that we can all have different opinions. Absolutely. It's what we do with them, right? That really shows a person's level of consciousness and awareness, right? I mean, we all go into fear. It's human, right? Literally not that long ago, if we weren't paying attention to the things that scared us, we would die. I mean, flat out.
It's funny. I love the fact that you brought fear up because fear is so entangled. Like doubt and fear kind of are, they're cousins, right? They're like second cousins from a distant aunt, right? Like they're not full blown related, but they're in that realm. And it's funny because I had, like, I'm a very big believer on like the people that work on me usually are on an energetic healing level, etc. So like, I like to have, my facialist is an energy healer. I like to have a massage person that's an energy healer. Like I like to have these types of people that are working on me because it's like, it's that next layering of my own self-care. And it was really interesting. Shout out to Sabrina. I don't even think she listens to the show, but like, shout out Sabrina. Like, but it was funny because in my last session with her, I was rattling off some things that I was transitioning through. And she ended up saying, she's like, oh, well, that saying how love and fear are the same frequency. And that just blew my mind because as soon as I sat with it, I realized how much the two of them are so intertwined and why their frequency is similar. And it's because it kind of creates that twin flame aspect. Like, how some people will have bought the idea of like, let fear be your guide type of thing. Like if you're starting to get into fear, then you're on the right track because there's something there bigger and greater to break through. And but the way that I don't necessarily think like, I don't want fear to be my guide because I've spent so many years in survival mode that fear was my fuel.
That's a different kind of fear. Yep.
It's a totally different type of fear. And so I always wanted to make sure that I flipped it into love being my fuel, like my joy, my desire being my fuel. And it's like, it's really hard to flip into that transition, but it's like you start getting used to it. It's no different than learning a new language. You have to play with it. You have to practice with it. Eventually it starts you become confident in it. And then by all means, then you're actually taking a trip across the country and speaking in tongues. Like, so, eventually you'll get there. But I thought it was so interesting because I love the way that she said that, because as soon as she said it, love and fear ended up turning into like this twin flame supportive sequence that then lost its power. And that's what it did for me, is the fear lost its power and then became a booster seat to love. And then I was like, oh shit, that really twisted things for me. And I had to hear it in that moment. And the funny thing is like, she had been hearing it for like years and years and years. And then she hadn't repeated it in a while. And then she's like, oh yeah, well, and I'm like, no, I hadn't heard that one, sweetie. And she's like, oh, I thought that was common. Like I was hearing that everywhere. And she's like, oh, apparently I just was supposed to say it to you. I was like, well, it worked. It's in there. And then like, we didn't even get started on the facial. I was like, okay, we're done. Like we're finished. So, but it's those types of messaging where if we don't have these conversations out loud, if we're not like going through these different experiences and expressing what they are, because your experience in your awakening process is completely different from mine, like completely different. But at the same time, it's being able to have another intuitive to where we can connect, have a conversation, be like, hey, how is this for you? Or did you notice, did you piece these things back? Because I remember when I heard empath for the very first time, and I didn't know what it was, and my girlfriend explained to me what it was and gave me like an actual definition in college. I had a flashback to every single pickup I had in it could have been in science class. It could have been in like random crap. Like all of a sudden I was like, oh, that emotion stemmed from this person. Oh my God, that one was from this person. Oh my gosh, none of those were mine. Like, and I already thought I was a loony. I mean, I am a Looney Tune, but like in the fun Bugs Bunny, lovable kind of creature way, not like Tasmanian devil.
Some days. That's all right.
only when the mom card gets pushed too far.
I was going to say, I bet it has to do with moms. Yep. I love that you bring this up because that's why we're here. That's why we're having the conversation, because number one, we're here for each other. Like we do not have to go through this alone. We're here to support and inspire and like reach back or reach over and grab somebody's hand and pull them up, right? This is why we're here. This is why we're doing this. And I think it's important to know, to hear even a sliver of your voice. Like I resonate with some of the things you say, even though we do have this completely different story. So even those slivers, they validate, right? And it maybe quiets that self-doubt. Like, oh my gosh, does nobody else see this? Like, what's wrong with me? Like, why is this happening to me? Is this something that everyone's going through?
Right, but the validation is truth. The validation is the truth.
Right. It's a little sliver of, okay, that I can resonate with that. I'm not alone. I'm not crazy. I'm not, like out here trying to figure these things out on my own without any support. So I love that these conversations can help inspire and help people feel supported. You're not alone. You're not alone.
I love that so much. So can you tell people how they can find you, reach out to you? You do incredible work by asserting teaching the boundaries guides, self-awareness, and getting into that flow so that you can create more functionality in your living, especially with some of the frequency that, the overcrowded loud frequency to which we've been picking up lately.
Yes. Oh man, there's a lot. So thank you for that. Yeah. So I work with women and a few men who are sensitive and they have taken on other people's things and they maybe don't know it. And we figure out, okay, where are those energy leaks? Because everything's a relationship. Every relationship has a boundary. So where are you leaking either out or people's stuff is getting in? We clear it, we heal it, just so you can have more ease and joy and love in your life. And so I have a website. It's www.alyssautecht.com. Spelling is in the little lovely purple rectangle. And I have a blog on there that I would recommend. You can sign up for my newsletter. There'll be a pop-up and that will give you a link to my blog every week. Otherwise, you can just go and read it, because you can just hopefully just pick a topic that looks like you. It's been up there for 10 months. I've been doing it for about 10 months. Hopefully you can just see yourself in there, right? Yeah. Even just little pieces like, oh, here's a nugget. Oh, that happened to me. Okay. Oh, here's something I can do. Just little tiny bits of recognition and maybe tools to use. Right. Yeah. And if you want to just have a conversation, send me an email. The email, all the information's at the bottom of the website. Otherwise, it's Alyssa@alyssautecht.com. And I would love to just sit and have a conversation and find out where you are, how you're doing, what's coming up for you. And then we just take it from there. There's absolutely no pressure, no obligation, just a heart to heart.
Yeah, I love it. Well, thank you so much for being with us today and just sharing your wisdom. We love it.
Thank you for having me. It was such an honor.
Thanks for joining me today on The Capital Life, where we talk about all the things that life brings. Join me next Saturday as we get into even more nitty-gritty. And remember to take care of yourself, because you are somebody's everything. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us on YouTube and Facebook at Capital Health. That's Kapitol Health. Please share with your friends and family. The Capital Life is available on all podcasting platforms except Pandora. Our goal at The Capital Life is to provide a safe place to get information when it comes to your health and wellness, especially when dealing with all of life's phases. Remember to take care of yourself, because you're somebody's everything.